Morning, everyone. I hope that you're well. Today, I'm coming on to talk to you about the importance of a whole home approach when it comes to embedding music into your daily dementia care. So, I'm going to be talking about this notion of a whole home approach, what it means, how we can be encouraging others to be joining in with our musical journey as we embed music into our dementia care, and the ways that you might be seeing benefits that come out of this collaborative approach rather than the responsibility just being on one person. So before I start, I wanted to kind of explain a bit more about this whole home approach and the ideas around it. So when I say whole home approach, I'm not just talking about care home settings. I'm actually talking about, your wider support network. So maybe don't think about a home as the structure, the building, the physical place of a home where you live or where your residents are living, but actually think of it as this wider home, a kind of a collective, support network, wider community. Whoever is in that community, in that support group, just start to think about that. To kind of just think, who am I already connecting with, and also who are they connecting with as well. So who kind of is actively involved in the day-to-day care, but who also is maybe a bit more on the outer edges of it, so is still involved, still can be an integral part, but maybe isn't there in the day-to-day care. So it's a great thing to just start thinking about this concept that whole home doesn't just have to mean the whole care home. It can have many wider meanings as well. In a care home environment, we can think of whole home approach as literally everybody in that care setting. So I know a lot of the time the responsibility for activities and music's included in that often falls to the activities coordinator or lifestyle lead, or the term that you have in your setting for the person that oversees activities and that side of things. And unfortunately, it often means that when they're not there, activities maybe don't take place, or they don't take place in the same meaningful way necessarily. And I think this, it doesn't come down to people not wanting to share in activities, but I think often it's maybe there's kind of a lack of education potentially around this. There's a lot more coming out nowadays, but to say that the person with activities in their title, or the one that normally organises activities and that side of things, it doesn't always have to come down to them. I think often they take on a lot of pressure, a lot of work to kind of, they feel that they're the ones that have got to be doing this. And if you're working with individuals in your home, which you should be often working at an individual level to use activities, there's no way that you can be providing meaningful activities for every individual in that home for the whole day. So I think it really is a much wider responsibility to be using activities, but also there needs to be more awareness around why. So that's especially why I like to talk about music, the benefits of music, and the kind of the knock-on effects for everybody in that setting, because I think we all need to kind of to delve deeper into that, to understand activities don't just make people feel happy and kind of that's the end, and it's a nice thing to have, but actually activities, so obviously meaningful music in sort of my experience, can be integral in your daily dementia care. It's not just a nice to have, but actually can be really integral as part of your daily care planning, as part of improving well-being for your residents, for the people that you care for. So I think that's something that we need to kind of work on a lot more, is around awareness of different activities, when it's appropriate to deliver. This is all about actually connecting with the individual that you care for, really understanding about their needs, about their interests, their likes and dislikes, their history, combining everything together to then work out what is meaningful to them. Because, I say a lot of the time that, whilst I'm an advocate of music in dementia care, and there are enormous benefits to using music, they won't be for everybody. And actually you will find that for some individuals, music just isn't the thing that connects them, but other activities might be. And so it's a responsibility of all of us working in a care setting to be delving that bit deeper, to find out what's meaningful for that individual, to be connecting it into the care planning, and then to be making sure that we tell others about it so that we can bring everybody in. So I know that I've kind of started with a, whole home approach isn't just for care settings, and then I've jumped into a whole talk around whole home approach in terms of care settings. But I think we can actually be seeing, the things that we can be drawing out of this in terms of, wider community network too. Is that, you as sole carer potentially watching this, the responsibility isn't just down to you to be delivering everything that's meaningful for the individual that you care for. You can be bringing in other people. If you have, maybe you have domiciliary care that comes into your home, definitely be telling them about what you're learning right now, what you've been trying in terms of activities, music, whatever you're using in your daily care. Tell them about the responses you've had, negative and positive. We need to be learning from one another. And at the end of the day, you're going to be the person that knows the individual best. So we can only learn from you. So I definitely would start to have this conversation. It's not something that will happen overnight. That don't suddenly feel that there's pressure to be getting this, right first time, to be involving everybody in your care, to be, completely on board, to be knowing why music is important, and to then be embedding it on a daily basis. We're kind of, let's be realistic that this is going to be a longer term process. And what I've said before about it is the enjoy the journey. You really hone in on this, and actually slow down, take your time with it, enjoy the journey. Document how the individual's responding to the music, be telling other people about it. Maybe you just want to start with one other person that you want to say, I've been watching these videos, or you've been reading articles, or however you've been learning lately. Tell them about what you've been learning, and then different things that you've been taking out of that and you've been trying in your own care. Let them know about it, bring them in, let them ask questions. That's another great way for us to be learning, is by answering other people's questions, and their questions will get us thinking as well. So it's so important to remember these are kind of baby steps. Don't suddenly feel a huge pressure to be embedding this straight away, but do get that conversation going. Start to talk to people. If you're on social media, it's a great platform. I think that social media gets a lot of stigma, but actually when it's used right, it can be great, especially for connecting with other people. For instance, we have a Facebook group called Musica Online Community, and it's great on there because we can ask each other questions, share successes, challenges, and it's a growing community. And so I think when social media is used right in this kind of connecting people way, actually it's great. So if you're on social media, start sharing kind of any questions on there. Obviously, feel free to drop me an email. You can find my email address on our website, which is musica-music.co.uk. But I hope that this has kind of given you just a little bit of an insight into how a whole home approach can be beneficial, and some ideas on kind of how to get started. So just kind of one more thing before I go, I wanted to just delve a little bit deeper into the benefits. So I think in terms of a whole home approach, if you start to draw in other people into this journey of using music in daily dementia care, you'll start hopefully your well-being will benefit from this, because the responsibility for this won't just be put down to you as one person. Particularly if you are working in a care setting, if you're a healthcare professional, it's really important that you're able to take time off. and feel that the meaningful activities will continue. And likewise, if you're a family carer, sole carer, if it's really important that you're able to have respite too, and that if, for instance, the individual you care for then goes into a care setting while you're having respite, you, by understanding more about meaningful music, different activities that are meaningful to them, you can then be passing that information on to the care providers, and then you can have your respite knowing that they're still being cared for holistically, as an individual, that their meaningful activities are still continuing, and that responsibility doesn't just fall to you, and that it only happens when you're there. So that's a huge benefit. Obviously, for the individual living with dementia, there can be enormous benefits to having this whole home approach, that they know that different people understand them, as a person. They know what's meaningful to them. The individual living with dementia doesn't have to rely on having to communicate those needs, that actually it's already there in the care planning document, or you've verbally spoken to other carers, other support networks, so that the individual living with dementia can then step into another setting, or another family member or a carer or whoever it is in your support network. They know then that their kind of holistic care is being taken care of. Obviously there's huge benefits in terms of using meaningful music, and I've spoken about this in other videos as well. And so if this can be happening, if we're really going to be embedding music into daily dementia care, we need this to be a whole home approach. This is the only way that it will really get embedded, that it will be used at whatever time of the day or night that it's needed, that everyone will understand about the benefits of music, about why music's so important, and how to use it in a meaningful way. So there are huge benefits to having a whole home approach, to leaning on your support network, collaborating with others to be embedding music into daily dementia care, and ultimately making sure that the individual living with dementia is the sole focus of all of their care. It's making sure that everything is meaningful to them in terms of activities, music, care, whatever it is, but really putting the individual at the heart of their care. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Please do let me know your thoughts, wherever you're seeing this, post a comment or send me an email, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care and have a great week.